To survive in the Karakoram range, you have to contend with sheer vertical rock, freezing winds, and oxygen-starved altitudes. If you look at this 3D map of the Earth's topography, past the polar ice caps, you'll see a massive concentration of glacial ice locked away here in Pakistan's Ghanche district. This is the domain of legendary summits like K2 and Masherbrum. The geography here is relentlessly hostile, dominated by weather systems and terrain capable of crushing standard biological life. The ice fields here behave like massive industrial machines. The Baltoro Glacier is a slow-moving, grinding river of pulverized rock, heavy debris, and deep crevasses that constantly reshapes the valley floor. Yet, directly in the shadow of this lethal environment, human beings have maintained a vibrant, active presence for centuries. Tucked beneath the frost line, you find valleys bursting with blooming apricot orchards and dense green foliage, completely surrounded by snow-capped rock. The Balti people managed to build a complex agricultural civilization in a landscape that appears geographically engineered to destroy it. Millions of years of tectonic uplift created a 9,000 square kilometer fortress of rock in Ghanche, effectively sealing the region off from normal overland travel. But this map of the ancient Silk Road reveals a counterintuitive reality. Because the surrounding high-altitude terrain was completely impassable, international trade caravans were physically forced to funnel directly through these specific, narrow glacial valleys. As centuries of traders, pilgrims, and explorers squeezed through this geographical bottleneck, they deposited layers of Tibetan, Buddhist, and Islamic traditions, all colliding and overlapping in one isolated pocket. Moving those goods required driving pack animals across barren, freezing plains and navigating narrow alpine passes, a grueling logistical feat that demanded precise timing. Ghanche's perceived isolation is an illusion. The extreme geography specifically engineered these valleys to become a highly concentrated cultural crossroads. Surviving in this corridor required the Balti people to develop physical infrastructure heavily calibrated to the alpine climate. Structures like the Khaplu Palace utilize heavy stone bases and interlocking wooden frames, architectural adaptations necessary to absorb winter snow loads and seismic tremors. Behind those fortified walls, the interiors hold intricately carved verandas and painted ceilings that seamlessly merge Tibetan structural design with Islamic geometric art. Outside, their engineering turns to agriculture. To grow crops, communities carved miles of complex stone channels into the mountain slopes to capture erratic glacial meltwater and redirect it safely. That captured water feeds elaborate terraced fields, turning unforgiving, steep rock into arable land capable of sustaining entire villages. The people maintaining these systems today inherit generations of specific ancestral knowledge regarding weather patterns, soil retention, and ice behavior. Balti architecture and agriculture represent specialized survival technologies dictated directly by the movement of the glaciers. By the mid-20th century, that local mastery of the terrain made this valley the mandatory launching pad for the golden age of mountaineering. Anyone attempting to climb K2, Chogolisa, or K7 had to route their expeditions up through the Hushe Valley and onto the Baltoro Glacier. Early foreign teams arrived with heavy canvas tents and rudimentary oxygen tanks, facing a chaotic, lethal environment they did not understand. They relied completely on local Balti guides and porters to read the shifting ice fields, break trails, and carry massive logistical loads up the valleys. The global milestones set on Karakoram peaks were made possible by the ancestral knowledge and physical endurance of the Balti people. Today, that legendary reputation draws thousands of international climbers and trekkers, bringing a rapid influx of capital into the local economy. While this economic boom builds modern infrastructure, the increased foot traffic and rising global temperatures accelerate the stress on a highly sensitive glacial ecosystem. In response, local communities are implementing strict conservation rules to manage the footprint of these massive expeditions and protect their water sources. Because regardless of modern equipment or expanding tourism, the sheer volume of ice flowing between these ridges dictates every aspect of life in the valley. Sustainable travel practices are now a hard requirement to ensure the region can handle its own popularity without exhausting its natural resources. Ghanche Valley stands as a living monument to human endurance, maintaining a centuries-old civilization built in deep alignment with the cycles of the ice.